Okay, I just saw a movie that I am pleasantly surprised I just watched, and equally shocked that I enjoyed this film as much as I did. So, I finally saw the Ewok Adventure, or as it is also known as Caravan of Courage, an Ewok Adventure. This film was released in 1984, and it is one of the only Star Wars things I have not watched. Why? Well, most of the criticisms towards this movie are not that kind. And also, it doesn't have the best score on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 21%. So, I was not that excited to watch this film, but I decided to give it a shot because I love Star Wars, and I just thought, why not? And I loved this movie. Now, if anyone's watching this thinking like I'm on some type of weird drug or something, that I hit my head, that is not true. And I am very shocked that I had this reaction watching this film because of all the hate that it has received. But screw the haters. Caravan of Courage is a wonderful film. I'm not joking right now. So I watched this movie, and I'm watching hoping that it's going to be at least watchable. Unlike the Star Wars Holiday Special. What Caravan of Courage is about is it's about these two kids. One is in his young adolescence, almost teenage years. His name is Mace, and then the other one is this little girl. She's probably around like 3 or 4. Her name is Sindel, and they have been stranded from their parents after their ship crashed on the moon of Endor. And the crazy thing about this film is that it has basically been shunned by Lucasfilm, shunned by Disney, shunned by almost every single person that was associated with it. It is a Star Wars film that mostly no one knows exists, and it technically wasn't released in theaters. I looked on Wikipedia and it says it was released in an international theatrical run, but it was a television film in America. And I have to say that it had the, I shall say, quality of a television film, but not the quality of the Star Wars Holiday Special. So, not terrible, but not great. And I was pleasantly surprised at this film. One of the reasons was because I thought it had a very endearing story to it. And the weird part about this movie was it is basically revolving around these two kids being found by the Ewoks on Endor, and you have the most famous Ewok of them all, Wicket. For those who don't know, Wicket was from Return of the Jedi. He's the Ewok that Princess Leia helped out, but if you're watching this video, you probably know that already. And Wicket is like trying to be the one Ewok that kind of is kind to these kids, because Wicket is kind of more so related and able to relate to, I think, Sindel, because she's a bit more near his age. But then Wicket has this family. It's this family of Ewoks. So there's Deej, there's Waddle. Deej is the father, Waddle's, I think, the brother. Then there's a couple of other Ewoks in this family. I don't know their names. But they have to take care of the other characters. So you have this family of Ewoks, and call me crazy, but I think that Matt Reeves and the people who made the Planet of the Apes franchise need to give proper ownership and recognition to Caravan of Courage, because they totally stole their film through the storyline. So you have these Ewok characters and this Ewok family who has to help this other family find and reunite. So the kids need to find their parents. And the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this is totally Caesar and his family having to help little Nova from War for the Planet of the Apes and go on this journey. And I'm watching this, and I gotta say, George Lucas has a huge love of Akira Kurosawa and Seven Samurai, and this movie is like the Seven Samurai of Ewok films, and it's beautiful. And there's this one moment where there's this one Ewok, his name is, I think, Chirrut, I think his name is, and he's this, I call him the lumberjack Ewok, and he has this, like, axe, and he's, like, all grizzled, and the mission of the Ewoks is they have to find other Ewoks to help them on the journey to help find the kids' parents. And every Ewok they find, well, actually they only find two, but the two Ewoks they find, one Ewok is this guy that's like this lumberjack Ewok. And what's so funny about this scene is this guy, he's like this buff Ewok, and he has this attitude. So the main boy, Mace, he's like, "You're not a real Ewok, you're not strong enough, you're not gonna, if you're not gonna help us, what kind of Ewok are you?" And then Mace grabs this guy's axe, this Ewok's axe, and he throws it at a tree. And then the Ewok turns around and he's like, "What you say to me?" And he walks up and he takes his own axe and then chops down, Mace's axe like Katniss Everdeen. And I'm like, damn, this Ewok has some attitude. So then the Ewok family and the human family, they go and they have to save the parents, and they also get the help of one of the Ewoks that has a close place in my heart, because it's the first ever Ewok figure I ever purchased, and pretty much the only one I've ever purchased, and it's Logray, the Ewok, and he's like the wise, sage, mystical master of Ewoks. And he tells them on their journey what they have to do, find other Ewoks and find other people. And then there's this one point in the story where I legit started to tear up. And it's the part when the Ewoks, how do I put this? They have to say goodbye to their family. And I have to say, for a movie where most of these characters do not speak English, they convey these emotions, and there's this baby, and like there's this parallel of the kids being like taken away from their parents, so now the Ewoks have to leave, one of the Ewoks have to leave their child, and it's this really endearing moment that I dare say is not in many Star Wars films. So I was like, okay, this is really, really touching. And then there's another scene when one of the Ewoks actually is killed. And it's the same Ewok with the axe, the lumberjack Ewok. And he dies to save Mace, who just challenged him earlier in the film. And he says to Mace, he's like, he spoke Ewok, ease, I think that's what Carrie Fisher called it. And this Ewok says to him to take his axe. So he takes his axe, then they have this monster at the end, and they kill the monster. And it's just, I don't know, I gotta say, I enjoyed this film. It's not a film that I think that people would consider to be the best Star Wars film, but I should also note that George Lucas wrote the story for this film. So what's kind of funny about that is that it's not his screenplay, but it's his story ideas, and he has wonderful story ideas. Now, sadly, many people accuse this film of not having the best screenplay ideas, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I think that many families would enjoy it, and all I have to say is yub nub and release the 4K version of this film on Disney+. Do it.